Hey friends, Monday we talked about the U diagram and the importance of engaging particular stories of harm so that you can go back and heal the past. I want to tenderly remind you that my journey to engage my stories of harm began one-on-one in an office with a counselor once a week for over a year. I didn't go this alone, and I advise that you don't either. We need someone to be with us as we tell our stories of harm. I engaged my story with a counselor, and when I say engaged my story, I want to remind you of what that is. Told her my stories at the ground level, all while I stayed engaged emotionally. Then I came home and retold some of those stories to my husband while he listened and held space for me. Then I had trusted friends and devoted sisters who were there to comfort me as well. And by the way, the word comfort, I need to tell you what that word really means. It's an old English word that derived itself come meaning with, and fort meaning forte or fortress, strong, to strengthen. To comfort another is to be with them and be strong. Not to offer advice or talk or share solutions. To comfort is to be with and be strong. That's what my friends and family were. They were strong because they didn't need to make me feel better because they felt uncomfortable. They were strong and allowed me to enter sorrow, enter my grief while they were with me. The work that I did to heal my past on my own was about remembering and writing out my stories so that I could work through these stories with others. Good story work, healing our pasts, requires engagement with ourselves and engagement with others. The U diagram, sliding down into the U. Sliding down into a particular story. We do this to face the truth about ourselves. And remember what we learned about what it takes to heal? Truth, grace, and time. I couldn't help but think about this as I listened to this podcast about healing and the U diagram, the three things that were present. Truth, to engage particular stories. Grace, because we must extend loving kindness to the boy or girl in our stories. And time, because we begin to understand how important it is to linger in the desert, in the wilderness, in the valley. Truth, grace, and time. We talked about common ways that we avoid the process of dipping down, the way we avoid truth, grace, and time. If we don't face the truth of our lives, we are avoiding all three. In essence, avoiding healing. Truth will set you free, and it is only truth that will set you free. The bottom of the U, telling the truth, the valley, is most often deep grief and sorrow. But that is what propels you up to the other side, into newness, into surprise, into redemption. If you dip down, you will experience grief. But blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Grief, it's the body's natural response to the truth of your story. When you allow yourself to dip down, you will experience grief. Your body will naturally grieve. You don't have to learn to grieve. People ask that. How do I grieve? You don't have to learn. What you have to do is stop refusing to feel. Stop numbing out. Stop dancing across the dotted line of the you. And why? Why do that? Because every area of your life is being affected by your story. If you don't face it and heal, it will contaminate every relationship you have for the rest of your life. The stories of your life that you have not healed are unfinished business, and they will contaminate your adult life for the rest of your life. The choice I made to invest my heart, my time, and my finances to seek one-on-one counseling was one of the best choices I've ever made, and a choice that changed my future. I entered the you before I knew what the you was. Looking back, the memories of being in the valley as I shared my stories was sacred to me. But in hindsight now, it shows me that my heart was captured by those stories, and I was changed by allowing myself the space to tell another, to sit with the sorrow longer than felt comfortable, and then to extend grace to my childhood Letha as I began to climb and in some ways spring up out of the you. I experienced awe in telling my story and in the understanding of my story and what it caused me and what it caused my life. That happened because I had a counselor that was willing to point out to me and show me the way and help me see with grace and tenderness just how important my story was, how important my story is. And by the way, awe is in the word awful and awesome. I felt both. I entered the you and lingered longer than felt comfortable, and then experienced coming up on the other side. Honestly, I discovered splendor in my story and glory in my healing as I invested time and finances and, most importantly, my heart. And courage. I had courage to enter the you. I know many of you have come to the Healthy Way as a place to find yourself. You've allowed my teaching to be your source of counseling. And I'm glad that that might have opened a door for you. However, you now must walk through the door and pursue deeper healing one-on-one with a professional. Life after the Healthy Way is your opportunity to take what you've learned here and move forward into deeper and greater healing. Remember the intent to learn versus the intent to protect. The difference between gathering information and healing. You've gathered a lot of information with me. Now what will you do with it? How will you go about from gathering information to healing? How will you go from your intent to protect, gathering information without pursuing healing, to your intent to learn, seeking professional help and having the courage to tell your story and linger there? Crystal included references today if you're seeking a counselor, and I hope you will consider moving into some one-on-one counseling to engage your story. Entering the you takes courage, and so does making your first appointment with a counselor. I want you to hear today that most of us will find ourselves, if we choose to engage our stories with another, in places of sorrow and grief and pain. We find ourselves in the valley, in the desert, in the wilderness, and those places are necessary for the process of healing, but they are not the last word. By entering in, having the courage to go back, you will come out on the other side of the you with beauty, joy, and shalom. And that is the promise of healing. And it's the surprise of healing the past. It will be unique to you and most likely will not manifest itself like you think it's going to. That is the surprise. I look back on those days and honestly, most days shake my head in awe. That would be the awesome awe at the joy that came after such heartache. Because while I was in the desert, I would not have believed it. Because I wouldn't have been able to even name how I would heal or the difference it would make in my life and in my relationships. That's the surprise of coming back out on the other side of the you. It's the consequences of the truth that we entered into that now we're in awe of. It's the reaping of what you sow. It's the running when it seemed we were too weary to even walk. It's the joy that comes in the morning. It's being faithful to enter in the Friday death. Investing time, investing your heart, lingering there for a while longer than you think, Saturday, and then rejoicing in the surprise of Sunday. Healing. It's extending loving kindness to the boy or girl in your story. It's recognizing that truth, grace, and time are necessary. And it's having courage to enter in the you. I hope with a trusted therapist, lingering in the desert or wilderness a little bit longer than feels comfortable, and then finding the surprise and the glory of what is waiting for you on the other side. My greatest hope is that the things you've learned about emotional healing at the Healthy Way will be just the beginning that takes you into the awesome experience of going back to go forward, going down to come back up. That you, because of what you've learned here, will have the courage to step up, care for yourself, and take tender, loving, precious attention and care to that boy and that girl in your past story. I love you guys, hoping all the best for you as you continue to move backwards to move forward. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.